Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
97.9 GRD rocks. Showers, especially this morning. 62 the high. It's rainy and 57 today. Everybody's shocked. Bernie Sanders wins the Democratic primary yesterday in Michigan. Polls showed him down by as many as 25 points. Even the more conservative polling showed him down at least 5 points. 538.com showed it as a 99% likelihood that Hillary Clinton would win the state.
Yeah, she's very strong in southeast Michigan, the Detroit area, and has been, every election. She's done very well in those counties, which is the majority of the population of the state.
Sure.
So that was a huge surprise. When you looked at it county by county, though, aside from like a couple counties right around the Detroit area and then a couple isolated ones, most of them were him. I mean, obviously they finished very close overall. But,
yeah.
But nevertheless, that was a big thing for old Bernie.
Donald Trump wins. Pretty big margin.
Yeah.
So, but that
No
both
real
the races
surprise.
are really far from over, especially the Republican one, but even the Democratic one. Somewhat far from over, though it feels like the Democrats have somewhat rigged it with the superdelegates who can change their support.
They sure have.
Yeah, the superdelegate thing that the Democrats do, it's such garbage. I don't understand that at all.
Well, it's just fixing the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, why even bother doing any of this if it's going to come down to superdelegates?
It's their way of making sure they don't get Donald Trumped.
Yeah.
Because now the Republicans are scrambling. They wish I think they had.
Yeah, because they could do that if nobody gets enough delegates and then they have a brokered or contested convention. Then they could have that come into play where, the higher-ups, the elders in the party get to decide.
Right. I wonder.
But that would be its own mutiny and disaster all by itself if Rubio is, let's say he comes in third or even fourth by the convention and then they pick him over the two most popular candidates.
Ew.
It would be brutal.
A nightmare.
I mean, it'd be fun to talk about, but
Yeah, crazy.
politically it would be insane. It will be interesting to see how it goes if Kasich or Rubio get out, but Kasich might. And
If he wins Ohio,
probably
stick
should.
around,
But
though.
but if he gets Ohio, he's hoping for a brokered convention because that's his only shot.
Yeah. I've been seeing speculation that because the polling so suggested that Hillary Clinton would walk away with the primary here, that they think some Democratic voters who would have voted for Hillary said, I don't need to do this. And so they then asked for the Republican ballot so they could mess with those results, which is very plausible. I wonder if there's anybody
It's
listening.
possible.
If
It's
you did
definitely
that,
possible.
if you expected Hillary Clinton to win and you want her to be the nominee, and you decided, and you went the other way, how pissed were you today?
I wonder. Boy, I can't imagine anyone did that. I know it's possible.
I wouldn't
but,
think enough people would do it to have made that big of a difference.
But if they
But
did,
it's possible. It's definitely possible.
if they did, they're kind of right because it is going to be Hillary who's on that ballot.
But a lot of the polls suggest that if it's Trump, head-to-head, he will beat her. I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion of, hey, if it's Hillary and Trump, Hillary wins. We got to let's vote for Trump and make him win. I think you're much better off getting like a Rubio. And obviously not enough people did that because he got 0 delegates. Kasich wiped the floor with him in Michigan.
I can't believe we live in a time where so many different organizations, individuals, people are going out of their way to try to stop America from voting for someone. I'm just, as you're talking just now, I see a tweet from CNN. Now, this is a column by CNN political commentator Sally Kahn, whom I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
But it's still pushed out by CNN, and most people don't look at it as opinion. Like lots of people who might see it on Twitter would go, "Oh, look, CNN says this," because the headline is "America, wake up to the Trump menace," and then it goes on to talk about all of the things, and that's crazy that a news organization is putting that out in March of the election year, 6 months, 7 months away from the actual election.
Right.
And they're just one of dozens.
Sure.
That's
wonder
probably not even enough.
I wonder if that's how it used to be back in the day. There would just be smear campaigns from anybody.
Because you hear these stories, like historians talk about the old school elections where it was plenty dirty.
Oh, very dirty.
It just wasn't the media wasn't the same. The coverage wasn't the same.
I wish I could remember. I saw someone
you didn't have as many people involved.
Someone on Imager posted some really, really old ads that were in print, and I wish I could. I'll try and find them, but I want to say they were just blatant lies about candidates. Mm-hmm. This man is a murderer or a rapist or something along those lines.
Yes, some of the ones in the 1800s were brutal against one another, but they said things more eloquently hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just as mean as anything today, except that they were said in a much more flowery way.
Well, they couldn't be as vulgar.
Right.
Yeah, now you could say almost whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back then it was like a horse-loving, puke peddler or something.
Right. Right.
You go, what?
Hey, Nate Burleson stepped aside from picking up pizzas and breaking his arms for a moment to post a very nice tribute to Calvin Johnson. He wrote, "When I signed with the Detroit Lions, I met a young man by the name of Calvin Johnson Jr., a humble superstar who spoke with his actions, not his words. After watching him during our first practice, I knew I was going to be witness to something very special. In the 4 years I was there, I saw him evolve from really good to great to unstoppable. I can only describe it like a superhero realizing his superpowers one day at a time until he realized he was there to save the city. CJ is a man of few words, but I knew by how much he loved Detroit and by his work ethic, I realized he embraced the responsibility of bringing pride to Michigan, which he did time and time again. It was a pleasure to watch, honor to play with, and a joy to kick it with you, bro." Technically, he said, "Kick it with you, bro." "You gave the game everything you had in every game you played and outworked every dollar you made. You are one of a few shining examples of how I will not only teach my kids to approach sports, but how to approach life. Never told you this, but this is how I see you, when we played together." And then he quotes, "You stood like a giant amongst boys, toiled like a peasant amongst kings, and blessed us with your presence like a god amongst men. You may be Megatron to the masses, but you're just CJ to me. Enjoy retirement, homie." That's pretty nice. That's well said.
Very nice.
Yeah, that is.
You have the universal respect of your peers. And, you can't think of a misstep that Calvin Johnson had in his near decade with Detroit. And he was excellent. And he played broken most of the last 5 years. So, not bad.
Yeah, he was amazing. What will he do now?
I think he has.
Is he? I don't even know if I've ever heard him speak, other than in a short period on a Brands commercial.
Well, that's what he's going to do. He's going to start a franchise. No, I think it was either Real Sports or E60 on ESPN. One of them did a profile one time, and he had a number of charitable things he was really involved with already.
Okay,
like a foundation of his own, and then I think he has a couple businesses. I think he's been very smart with his investments and stuff that he's been doing. He's been sort of an apprentice for other businesses to learn and not just dump his money into like some guys fall prey to the recording studio or whatever.
Yeah.
So I saw somebody talking about a charity event that he was running, like the Calvin Johnson football camp for kids or whatever. And they got there early, and they were just an ordinary person who was there to write a news story about it. I don't remember who it was, or I'd give them credit. And it's 3 hours before it starts or whatever, and you wouldn't expect anyone to be there, or you'd expect employees to be there. And it's Calvin Johnson out on the field pacing it out and setting the lines and setting up the cones. And they said it was just it was very atypical to what you expect from sort of the diva wide receiver, look at me.
He's not just the face. He really does believe in it.
Yeah.
He takes his responsibility seriously. If the camp's got his name on it, he's doing it.
Amazingly, because everybody draws the comparison to Barry Sanders, at least Barry Sanders won a playoff game and was in the playoffs half the years he played, roughly. I mean, Calvin Johnson got twice out of 9, 2 years out of 9. And I was bummed yesterday on ESPN Radio when they were announced, well, Calvin Johnson has made it official. The first thing they mentioned was that he had 83 catches the year that he went 0-16. And I'm like, come on, man. He was the only reason to even tune in that year.
Why didn't he ever leave?
It's true.
Loyal.
Surely he
could have.
Yeah.
And he could have demanded a trade any year, and they would have had no choice but to to try to get the best they could for his value. And, well, hell, they could have traded him now for some value if he wanted it. If he had really wanted that, he could have pushed for it.
I don't think anybody would have really blamed him, but he had a loyalty to the Ford family and to the fans, and I think he probably didn't want to look like a LeBron, taking my talents to wherever I think I can win because it's more about me than it is about my teammates.
Yeah. But, man, like you said, who would have blamed him?
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think anybody would have blamed him.
Even with, like in Ndamukong Suh, just as dominant, different position, but no one was surprised when he left. Like, if Calvin had said that, you wouldn't have blamed him, but you'd have been shocked.
Right.
Yeah, we're lucky. It's sad that as Lions fans, that's as lucky as we get, having a really good guy who was really, really good. Other teams are like, yeah, we won that championship when he was there. That was great. No, we're just happy that he was generally pretty cool.
Yeah.
Korn, Freak on a Leash. 97.9 GRD Rocks.